Welcome my friends back to Marvel Snap, an incredible and very unique control deck coming out of Pool 2, Sandman. We're also going to be breaking down how it can be upgraded, hit its final evolution in Pool 3, but let's take a look at this deck. Our headline card is the Sandman. Ongoing players can only play one card a turn. This deck is a hybrid of effectively 3 different archetypes here in Pool 2. The Sandman is leveraging control against the opponent, restricting them to only one card a turn. Now we are restricted as well, but we've been able to build our deck in a way that can help mitigate the pain of only playing a single card a turn. We have the Spectrum as our big 6-drop, and we've been able to bring in a number of ongoing tags on the rest of our cards to be able to get an enormous buff out of playing the Spectrum. We also have the Kazar here as one of the cards that are feeding the Spectrum's buff with the ongoing ability. Kazar here synergizing with playing a number of 1-drops. Our goal is to be able to play them out very quickly early in the game so that we have high tempo on those early turns, and then we slow things down as much as possible with the Sandman, and then play directly on curve to be able to go into either the Blue Marvel buffing all of our other cards, or the Claw bluffing the rightmost location by 6 power, and then finishing things off with the Spectrum. The earlier curve of our cards is extremely cheap. We're not playing a single 3-drop. On the 2-drop side, we have the Lizard, a 2/5 ongoing, -3 power if your opponent has 4 cards here. Keyword being ongoing, can grab that buff from the Spectrum, and just has a great stat line overall. Very much a plug-and-play card. Angela as well, very much a plug-and-play card right now. The staple, the backbone of so many of these 2-drop lists. She is a 2/1 when you play a card here, +2 power. If Angela is ever nerfed, or you want to take another option here, then the Scorpion is a good slot as well. We have the Ebony Maw, a 1/7. Now he has 2 restrictions here. It's a very complex card. You cannot play this after turn 3, and ongoing, you cannot play cards here. So he has the ongoing tag. He can receive the buff, but he is also just a brick in our hand after turn 3. So we have to pay the price to be able to get this beautiful stat line, and as long as he can hit the board, we're going to be quite happy. We have the Nightcrawler, able to bamf around, just such a nice plug-and-play card, can buff the Angela, and then move to the location where the Ebony Maw is to continue to strengthen our position there. The Korg here is a nice bit of control, giving the opponent the rock. This is very much the flex slot of the deck. You could run Sunspot here, you could run Elektra, you could run Agent 13, but we're choosing to go for the Korg, being able to put a little bit more control on the opponent, giving them that rock. And then the Iceman as well, beautiful control card on reveal. Give a random card in your opponent's hand, +1 cost. This can be debilitating, just breaking off the curve that they want to follow or the combos that they want to make in their hand. Finally, the Ant-Man, 1/1 ongoing. If you have 3 other cards here, +3 power, and he's ongoing able to absorb the Spectrum buff. He could be a 1/6, and that's with no play restrictions, unlike the Ebony Maw. Diving into our match here, trying to look for a good showcase of what this deck can do. Honestly, Wakanda is a blessing. If you're seeing a lot of opponents running a Killmonger, you can happily tech in the armor yourself, probably replacing the Lizard, maybe replacing the Korg, though that will make your energy curve just a little bit more expensive. Let's see, do we want to use the Lizard here or the Korg Nightcrawler combo? Let's go ahead and deploy the Lizard. Sure, to Olympia. You have a lot of flexibility on the list. So the deck list that I prefer is up above. If you want to talk any card substitutions, deck optimizations, just leave me a comment down below. I read all the comments, and I love tracking everything snap down there. So let's go Angela Nightcrawler, just the classics. Nothing but the classics for us here. But we do have a lot of space in the list to be able to tech in pieces to counter what the opponent is running. If you see a lot of Devil Dinosaurs, you can bring in the Shang-Chi or the Enchantress to be able to shut them down. Replacing, the Kazar is honestly close to being on the cutting block. So is the Korg, of course, if you're okay, making your energy curve a little bit more expensive. Now we just go right into Mr. Sandman. Let's go ahead and use him to be able to buff our Angela. The opponent playing Angela, Sentinel Agent 13, so it is the dreaded Destruction Dino list, which is the meta. It's exhausting at this point to see it every single time. This deck is not necessarily the strongest counter to that deck specifically. The best thing to counter that deck specifically is running only counter cards or running Destruction Dino yourself, which is not honestly what I like having to tell people, but that is how it plays out. Let's see, let's go with the Blue Marvel here. The nice thing that's working in our advantage now is what the Devil Dinosaur deck just wants to do is play non-stop. Okay, the opponent got caught on that one, they were going to retreat. They want to play Devil Dinosaurs at the very end, but they also want to be able to work in the Killmonger, they want to be able to work in the Carnage, and being held to only one card a turn can potentially prevent them from being able to pop the Bucky or the Nova. We're into our next one here with the Lizard coming into the Vault. Opponents played the Quicksilver, Domino, using both of the, well, I feel like you call them the Mulligan cards. I don't really like that line of play, but there are some people who absolutely adore them. Let's go Angela Nightcrawler to be able to begin the buffing process. We're looking to play the Ant-Man to the Vault as well. Be prepared as possible for when that locks down. But now Storm cutting out this dimension very quickly. The opponent likely playing Infinite here. What would we like to see? The Ant-Man Iceman gives us good tempo. The Kazar plus Blue Marvel will be able to continue to buff the location later, and if we play specifically, it would be Blue Marvel to the Vault. We could play Kazar to be able to grab the Atlantis buff. I don't know, we really need to be ahead. They're gonna drop the Jess Jones. This is always the play. At least I feel like that is what we anticipate. We're up to 15 though. They have the Jubilee instead. Hey! They're gonna play the Sandman for us? Fascinating. So their tech was that... I still have to assume that it's an Infinite line. Their tech is that they prefer the Sandman to slow down a deck that's playing against them if they want to be able to play the Infinite. Let's go ahead and go Kazar Korg. By doing this, they have the Sandman. I know this. We go Blue Marvel, end turn. The opponent is playing rather than passing, so maybe I was wrong. It could be that I was completely off base and they're not playing the Infinite. They've tried to capture the Vault here, and little do they know the Spectrum surprise rushing in here. Okay, what do they have that beats us? A Spectrum of their own doesn't get power over here. They're snapping? Excuse me? I'm wondering if we need to bring the Nightcrawler to the left or if we leave him, is really what I'm wondering. But I feel like you need to leave him. It's representing 6 power here, taking us down to 13. If they play the Claw, they only come up to 13. But I also don't see how they're getting extra power to the Vault either. After the Spectrum buff comes in for +4, taking us to 13. If they play a Mr. Fantat, yeah, okay. Snap back. I'll take you for your 8 cubes. They snap, they can't retreat. They have to play it out. What's the final flip? Nothing. It was nothing. Was it a bluff? Maybe it was a bluff. Diving in here, we've got Atlantis. We'll go ahead and play the Nightcrawler. Got the flexibility to be able to move wherever we want to go. Lizard, Kazar, and Blue Marvel in hand. Crimson Cosmos shows this is okay for us. Let's go ahead and use the Lizard playing to this block on the right. We prefer playing the Ebony Maw in a block on the right because of the Claw being able to give the additional assistance to that location. Hopefully we get... Okay, interesting. Angela and Ant-Man. If we go Ant-Man plus the Ebony Maw, we'll be able to bring the Nightcrawler over to still score the Ant-Man. We could also play the Angela. I think that we go this line right now. And then for the 4 cost, we'd like to start filling in at the Crimson Cosmos. Pick our singleton champion to Atlantis. Preferably it would be the Spectrum, but it could be anybody. I would really like to be able to grab that +5. Put some pressure on the opponent. See what they choose as their champion. Ant-Man, Ebony Maw. We'll just be devastated if they play Killmonger, but that is kind of how the deck is rolling. As I said again, if you're facing a lot of Killmongers, you can bring in the armor to be able to protect yourself. Let's grab Angela. Iceman for some tempo at flooding. The Storm is always so nerve-wracking because if you fall behind, then it allows the opponent just to play the Infinite and win. They have the Jess Jones, which is going to bring them up to 10 strength. Yeah, pretty good. We go Blue Marvel then. That'll be able to get us some buffs. If we take the Nightcrawler across, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. That gives us the tie, and then we'd have to play over margin of victory, which up against the Infinite doesn't sound great. Does not sound great to me at all. Oh, but maybe if the opponent is full passing here, they've not been able to set up the sunspot that is so crucial to make that turn 5 pass bearable. Okay, they are not passing. It's not the Infinite. It's Jubilee. It still could be the Infinite if they just thin it out from the deck right here. Magneto. Interesting. The opponent has begun accessing their pool 3 powers. We go Kazar, and we're a little sad that we cannot play the Korg. And then we bring Nightcrawler across for the tie. And it's a hope that the Nova Roma can hold off. I'm not going to snap just because we are very vulnerable right now to the Killmonger, and I feel like that could be tech in the list. I don't know. It's unlikely. I'm going to snap. It's very unlikely that they actually run the Killmonger. Now, it was very fortunate for them to be able to pull the Magneto. They're probably running Chavez here, and they're just going to drop the 9 points here on us. But if it's a tie, and then they play the 9er, our margin of victory should get us through. Especially with the Kazar moving in. I actually feel very happy with how this was able to play out. The hybrid structure here, where you have so many cheap cards to make sure that you have great use of your early energy. It's the Odin. Oh, thank goodness. It's just the sunspot. Oh, if they'd pulled a bigger body there, we would have been toasted. But as it is, our 18-0 victory gives us the win. Upgrading into pool 3 here, we're able to really lean into the Sandman, restricting the opponent to only playing 1 card. We're expecting that card just to be able to influence 1 location, whereas we are going to be bringing in cards that affect multiple locations at once. So we're going to be trying to stretch the opponent so thin that they're not able to hold us off at all of the different locations. And we have really revamped the list here. There are some pool 2 and 1 cards here that have been brought in that were not there before, and we have a number of pool 3 cards that are bringing in the synergy. So the Claw remains. Is that the only holdout, the Sandman and the Claw? It actually looks like it is. We have brought in the Sunspot. We like having something early, able to absorb the extra energy if we have an awkward play after the Sandman is down. We have a couple energy cheats here in the Psylocke and the Wave to be able to establish cards early and then be able to get some of these pieces comboing together. We have the Storm and then the Juggernaut looking to be able to lock down a specific location early. The Storm you guys have seen from Pool 2, flooding the location so that there's only one more turn that cards can be played that location. The Juggernaut coming in here on reveal, if your opponent played cards here this turn, move them randomly, meaning it's always to another location though, but it's to a random other location. So you play the Storm first, then you play the Juggernaut, you kick all the opponent's cards out of the way, and you're guaranteed to win that lane. It is very powerful. The Wave, next turn, cards in both players' hands cost 4. This allows us to be able to jump the energy curve and play our 6 drops, whereas the opponent, if they are going to try and play multiple cards together, will not be able to do so. So it's a double-edged sword that we are wielding up against the opponent. The Jubilee here, thinning a card from the deck, synergizing beautifully with some of the on-reveal synergies that we have later on. Sandman restricting them. The White Tiger able to get a body in one lane, but then still distribute the Spirit Tiger into another lane, potentially the locked off one from Storm. We'll see. The Claw also can get the helping hand over to Storm's location. We have Leader here. On reveal, copy all cards your opponent played this turn, but on your side. This means that once Sandman is restricting both players, we are just able to match them perfectly, but then still be able to get the extra 4 strength body on top of what they played. Now, the reason that we can get the extra 4 strength on top of what they played is because we're restricted a little bit based on board space, and also there's just a number of odd interactions with the Leader and how the opponent's playing cards that synergize with what's already on their board, not necessarily with what is on our board, so he can bite us, but by and large, he's very good for this deck. We also have the Dr. Doom. Add a 5-power Doombot to each other location. You think of this as the 5-power equivalent of Squirrel Girl, getting in there with assistance across the entire map. And the Odin, On reveal, activate the on reveal abilities of your other cards at this location. If we have used an energy cheat, we would love to be able to reactivate the Dr. Doom. We could also reactivate the White Tiger. We can reactivate the Jubilee. There's a lot of really powerful abilities. We could reactivate the Leader. There are so many powerful on reveal abilities here that we love Odin being able to re-trigger. Honestly, we can also just reactivate the Wave. You can play Wave on 3, Odin on 4, and then keep on throwing down these big cards, whereas the opponent has been slowed down to only 1 a turn as well. Storm Juggernaut in hand early feels phenomenal. The Wave as well. I think we would like to go ahead and use the Storm Juggernaut early here. Unfortunate that we did not find our Sunspot, but that's going to often be the case. They show Angela. Beautiful alternate art, upgraded to the infinite level. Shuri's Lab, new hot location. When you play a card here, double its power. Very spicy, very spicy. Now, do we want that with this deck? Maybe. Maybe so, maybe no. We do not have that many very large bodies. It's really only the Odin, and the Odin is not even in hand. So let's just say that Shuri's Lab is no more. Oh, of course, they get to play there. Based on initiative, they're able to double each. But they only played 1 power card. Okay, fantastic. They do have the Sunspot to be able to continue assisting at the location, but we have the Claw to get in as well. Let's play the Juggernaut just to make sure they don't have any funny business here. They do have the Jess Jones, which we then kick off to the side, clogging up a location they would rather have been buffed by the Angela. I feel like we're in a great spot here. Let's play the Claw. Let's play Claw, get the extra assistance on Flooded, and then we are probably looking at a Leader finish. They have the Cable. Cable into Storm of their own. Interesting, interesting. Final plays. We're ahead by 12 at Flooded. Yeah, I mean, it's a Leader. It takes us up to a tie. We get whatever they play as well. And then we're ahead by 6, but behind by 5. I feel like this is the best line that we have. It's the Devil Dino. Only for 9 for them. It's actually better for us. Oh, let's go. White Tiger, the Sandman, the Leader. Oh, beautiful. We have the Psylocke. We play the Psylocke on 2. That lets us go straight into the Sandman and just start restricting the opponent from the very beginning. Weird world. Okay, I mean, with the Olympia, we each have effectively what our decks want to accomplish already at our disposal. It's a little unfortunate. There you go with the Okoye. That's buffing their deck, which is now going to be drawn into our hand. Not sure the opponent realized what was happening there. Shuri's Lab appears yet again. The cards played here are going to be able to double in power. Let's play our Sandman. It's beautiful that they're going to be doubling in power when we stole their buffed Shang-Chi. You gotta love it when that happens. They go Storm to the Weird World. They want their deck. Okay, well, I will forgive the Okoye, understanding that they wanted to play the Storm anyway. But that was their tactic. Let's see, when you play a card here, does the Jubilee played card get buffed by Shuri's Lab? For science, we shall find out. They're going with the Lady Sif, trying to protect the flooding. They cut up the Infinite. They must have another way to be able to get it to board, either through Hela or Ghost Rider. We get the Odin, which is perfect. Odin now re-triggering the Jubilee. We get the Juggernaut. Juggernaut doesn't matter necessarily. Shuri's Lab only buffs the Jubilee. Okay, this makes sense. It's effectively what I expected to have happen. But it's nice to be able to test anyway. Let's go with the White Tiger. And hope that the Tiger Spirit bamps to the Flooded. If it fills up Shuri's Lab, it's not the end of the world, but it is a little unfortunate. I suppose we could have just set up the Sunspot to be able to give it the 5 energy, though that didn't feel great either. They show Magic, extending the game length, giving us Limbo up to turn 7. And the new animation on the Magic where she chops the sword is so good. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Goes over to the Flooded. Now, I mean, we're ahead everywhere we look. Let's play the Leader. Give us exactly what the opponent has, and then be able to adapt with the Shang-Chi or the Sunspot. Sounds good to me. Alternatively, we could play the Dr. Doom up to 10 here, and then +5/+5. That's also crazy good. But so far, leader has been quite good to us. Let's try it. If the opponent plays the Shuri's Lab and then it gets doubled, we will not get the doubling effect, will we? Because we get the copy. It's not us playing the Shuri's Lab. Alright, I'm going to have to wrap my brain around this location to be able to play around it a little bit better. I think this could actually be a misplay. The Doctor Doom, like we were debating, feels like it would have been a stronger return of points. Because we're flipping first, specifically. If the opponent was flipping first, this is where the leader rabbit hole gets so deep of like odd card interactions. There we go, so we get their claw. Amazing. Oh, I love it. So now it's going to be the Doctor Doom. Even though one of the locations here on the left is choked off, we don't get a Doombot there. We will get the assistance to Flooded. We will get Doctor Doom up to 10 strength. And we stole their Shang-Chi, so we're not worried about him coming in here. We already snapped. Alright, let's see it. But as I said about the initiative, if the opponent had flipped first to grab the buffs from Shuri's Lab, then our leader, I believe, would copy the buffs. But because our leader was flipping first, we would copy the card prior to it being buffed, and it would be then weaker. So the web of playing leader well is very deep. To be able to read the matrix. I've really enjoyed revisiting the Sandman control list here. I've done a video on it already, but that was a while ago. And I feel like control is just an underappreciated deck style here in the game right now. It really does thrive on being able to slow the opponents down. It does very well, but it never makes the really flashy meta lists that I see going around. Sandman getting hit with the Iceman. Warrior Falls. So this is a bug. Warrior Falls should not be in the game yet. After each turn, cards here fight, destroy the weakest ones. This fighting mechanic is brand new, so I don't want Psylocke to come in here and get destroyed, but if we play a bigger card than the Iceman, we'll be able to kill off the Iceman. And then there's an escalation of playing bigger and bigger warriors because the smallest one is always going to get destroyed at the end of the turn. Hopefully we can at least show it off, but right now the hot location is supposed to be Shuri's Lab. But a couple of Warrior Falls apparently have snuck in as well. This is supposed to be debuted later on in the season. Very interesting. Okay, let's get the showcase here. Ooh, Jubilee me? Interesting, because Jubilee herself will be destroyed based on being smaller than the Iceman, but whatever she pulls is likely to be stronger. Let's try it. And we'll be very sad if it is the Sunspot. Will then immediately get killed as well. But everything else is... Yes, everything else is fine. We already have the Sandman, the White Tiger, and the Psylocke, which are our other 1-drops. You played a 1-drop yourself in the Forge. No. We'll get the Doctor Doom. Beautiful, beautiful. If we can get the Odin now to be able to reactivate. There we go. So the 1-drops die. We had the battle. Very flashy. Let's go... Wave? Wave here gets destroyed. Wave here... I mean, it would get destroyed as well, wouldn't it? Cards here, fight. Could that be cards on your own side as well? I don't necessarily want to test that, just to have Doctor Doom kill off my own wave, because there could only be one. We're playing Highlander rules here in Wakanda. We go with the Okoye. Alright, there goes the Iceman. We were able to off him. Beautiful, beautiful. Now here, because we have played the wave, we've opened up the energy curve. The opponent can play anything they're in their hand. They want to play their most powerful card. So we want to play the leader and then get a copy of their most powerful card. Do we think that if two cards are the same strength, they both die or they both survive? They're technically both the strongest and the weakest. I'm just not sure what the logic of Warrior Falls is. We got the Black Panther. Alright, so now Doctor Doom is offed by the 2 Black Panthers, and we'll be able to see with 2 identical strength Panthers. Maybe not so identical strength Panthers, hey? Yes! Yes! When Warrior Falls creeps in early... Oh, baby. I'm super excited for this to be the featured location. It's just so fun. I mean, it's going to definitely cater to just playing big bodies and then Shang-Chi to be able to kill the big bodies. But it's such a fun mechanic of having them being able to off the little ones, and then you play this game of escalation trying to knock off all the smaller cards and then you play bigger and bigger cards. Do they also have the Odin? It's gonna be amazing if they do. I mean, we win because we have tempo everywhere else. Oh, they got the Dr. Doom. Very nice, very nice. Here is the final form of the deck list. Absolutely love coming back to this style of control, and I think it has a great spot in the meta right now. Sarah is very popular, trying to combo a lot of cards together. This stops her in her tracks. Also, a lot of the destruction decks with Death, trying to bring Death in very cheaply alongside some other cards for a big turn 6 swing. It just doesn't happen up against the Sandman, so I really love bringing this one out. Let me know how it serves you if you give it a try. Till next time, thank you guys for watching, and keep on snapping.